at you all the way from our dorm rooms to your conference rooms. Sabah and Dan teaming here, two college students who are ready to talk to you guys about business and lifestyle from our personal experiences.
Each week we'll discuss about our lifestyle as college students as well as our tips and strategies starting in the business field. We'll bring on successful entrepreneurs in the millennial generation, share with us their journey and how they got started and where they're at now.
Our goal is to help you students, millennials, and entrepreneurs gain inspirational advice by our spontaneous conversations and meaningful guidance. Let's dive on in.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 13 of Dorm Rooms and Conference Rooms podcast. Today, Sabah and I will be talking about a great topic, and that's staying consistent over a long period of time. Sabah, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Just got back from Orlando from the premiere for Ambitious Adventures. That was so much fun, but I'm so excited to talk about our topic today.
Yeah, actually, Sabah, I just really want you to talk about why you were in Orlando really quick. Just give a little bit, minute spiel on what was going on with Brandon T. Adams and Greg Roulette on Ambitious Adventures and their TV premiere and what you did down there. That was so cool. And it will actually go into being consistent over a long period of time because it correlates.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually didn't know that I was going down there for the premiere probably until a couple days right before my flight, which I feel like I do that a lot. But it was for the premiere for their TV show Ambitious Adventures. So produced by Greg Roulette and Brandon T. Adams. So I was there for the red carpet event, which was Thursday night. So that was really cool because we got to go see we did the whole red carpet thing. Then we got to actually see their first episode at a theater in Orlando, so that was really cool. And then the following Friday I was there for the entire day for a workshop that Brandon T. Adams talked in and Greg Roulette, and then also the producer and Emmy Award winner Nick Nanton came and spoke there also. So a lot of great content that I got from there, and I'm really, really glad that I took that opportunity to go down there and see all of that happen.
Yeah, so Brandon, as we know, we've known him, you've known him for over a year, and I've known him probably, 9 months or so now, I want to say.
Yeah.
And he constantly stays consistent. He's been working on Ambitious Adventure for almost a year now, along with Greg, and putting everything together. It was around this time last year that he met Greg, and they came up with the idea, and just over that consistency part, and that's what we've been doing together. What are some ways that you've been staying consistent, Sabo, between Facebook Lives or blogging or this podcast is something that we're staying consistent with our Wednesday and Friday shows? Just touch on a little bit of consistency and then I will.
Yeah, so definitely the main thing that keeps me consistent is my end goal. So I know for being consistent, you need to focus on your goal and what you want to perceive in life. So for me, obviously, both of us, Dan and I, we do our weekly Monday blogs. So we do that because we constantly want to put out content. That way people will know who we are, what we're doing, what we aspire to do in the future. So that's one thing I do. And also another reason why I like to stay consistent is because it really helps you stand out in the crowd also. Because I actually learned this past weekend when Brandon was speaking at the workshop that I was in. If people keep seeing you on their social medias, about even if you're doing Facebook Lives, if you're posting on Instagram, doing Snapchats, if they keep seeing you do what you're doing, it stays in their head, and then ultimately they'll be like, oh, what is it that they're doing? And that way you become known and you're in that field, that whatever it is that you're working on. And eventually you'll become a celebrity in that field. So that's another reason why you should stay consistent, because other people will see that whatever it is that you are doing and they'll want to keep in touch with you,
Yeah, and I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson even said, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and greatness will come. So pretty much, guys, what that means is with us being consistent for such a long period of time so far, that we will achieve success eventually. We don't give up at our first downfall. We don't, turn our backs when things get tough. We embrace it. We really want that, people coming at us or the disputes that happen to us so we can get through it, and we'll just keep producing content over periods of time. And when you stay consistent, like Saba was saying, people notice. People start asking questions. I've had so many questions ever since I started this journey. Like, what am I doing? What's going on? And all those questions, they actually generate leads for our business, for us doing our accelerator programs and things like that. Those leads and those questions help us answer people's problems or fears, and they start to trust us. And that's another big thing about consistency. You build trust with your clients or with your fan base or whoever is listening to you. That consistent over a long period of time, people will recognize it and people will go to it. They will start breeding to you. They'll start coming to you, and the success will follow with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I know, like, Brandon, he's been working his ass off for like years, and the reason why he's been doing TV shows now, doing so well with his podcast, his Live to Grind program and accelerator, is because he stayed consistent throughout those years, working towards his main goal. And a good quote from Tony Robbins is for changes to be of any true value, they've got to be lasting and consistent. And this really doesn't apply just to business, it applies to everything in life. So if you are trying to lose weight, you need to be consistent working out, eating right, because if you only do it for a short amount of time, you'll see a change for a little bit, but then eventually you're just going to fade away and you're not going to stay consistent and you're not going to see results. I mean, you can apply that to anything in life, really. It doesn't have to be just business, just sales,
Yeah, no, definitely. You really, if it comes to sales or anything like that, you have to be willing to call a third, second, fourth time, or second, third, fourth time, just because, you won't get that answer you want on the first try. Rarely do you get the yes right away. So when it comes to sales, you have to be consistent going after them. You have to be persistent. You have to, not only solve a problem for them, but you have to be there. You always have to be in the back of their heads. And the way that we've been able to do it, though, is by Facebook Live. Like, we put out, the Monday blog and then our Wednesday, Friday podcast. But in between those other 4 days, we're putting out Facebook Lives. I'm actually going to start doing a book of the week, I'm pretty sure, soon. I want to do that. I've just been kind of putting together a collection of books that I've been reading and things like that, and talk about certain books and give a review on it, because I feel like that would add value to so many people. And that's the thing. When you stay consistent, you also have to be bringing the value to people's lives. You have to, go with what you're good at and just run with it, right? So if you're good at doing online marketing, or if you're good at public speaking, any of that, really run with that and stay consistent with it, because people will notice. And when you're, all these people are noticing over long periods of time, is just good for you. It builds up your credibility. It really it's just a great thing overall. You have to stay consistent. It's just a driving factor to everybody's success. Richard Branson stayed, consistent over a long period of time. Even when Virgin Records was going down for a little bit, he stayed with it the whole time.
Yeah, and going off of that, it's good for your future, but then it's also good for yourself, because when I stay consistent, I have somewhat a daily schedule on when I want to do a Facebook Live, when I want to do a Snapchat story, when I'm writing my blog and stuff like that. So it obviously helps you in your future, but it also helps you on a daily basis. It makes you feel good when you're staying consistent on your goals, on your blogs, on your podcasts, whatever it is that you're working on. Because I know a lot of people, they want to start a blog or they want to start doing something, but then it comes down to yeah, I used to do it for a little bit, for a month or two, but then I just got so busy doing other stuff, or I got these distractions. But it's really about just make a time within the day, whether it is an hour, 30 minutes to do a Facebook Live, just write that blog. It really doesn't take up that much time if you have your schedule of your day laid out right.
Yeah, and guys, definitely start producing content. So much of us just keep taking in all this content. We're watching Gary Vee videos, we're listening to the podcast, which is great things. Gary Vee gives out a lot of information on his videos, but you should be doing that in return then. So every video you watch of his, you should be putting out 2 in return. Just like podcasts. Every one you listen to, put out 2 podcasts as well. Because there's so many great topics to talk about, whether it's business or lifestyle or sports or really whatever you want. Start producing that content. It's about 20% creation and 80% marketing that content after that, because you want to just keep getting out that solid content. You don't want to produce a bunch of random content, but really high quality content, and then market it, because it's really going to be good content that everyone wants to listen to, and you have to stay consistent with that all.
Yeah, and even if, like, obviously we're still starting out. I mean, if you're starting out, don't be afraid if not everybody reads your blog, if you don't see, like, results right away. Everyone has to start somewhere, but it's about staying consistent. I mean, a lot of people, they give up, like, on our previous podcast, we mentioned about how a lot of people have already given up on their goals of whatever it is that they achieve or they set for 2017. It's because they didn't stay consistent on them. I mean, we're here, we're still doing our podcast, and it just launched in January. I mean, we're still seeing results, so it's growing, and it's because we're staying consistent on doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Saba, what do you think, like, the major things when you were down in Orlando, what do you think really drives, like, people to keep just producing content? What drives Brandon? I mean, we know his goal of reaching 1 billion lives, but there has to be the why as well. What do you think really gets at people?
So he mentioned a lot of things, but one thing that probably relates to us and a lot of other people also is because he's doing it for those people who thought that he couldn't do what he's doing right now. And I know for me, a lot of people, they don't understand what I'm doing right now, like the whole entrepreneurship lifestyle. It's so different. And I actually want to bring up this conversation that I had with this guy that I met down in Orlando. He was at the premiere at the workshop, and we had a really great conversation. We were talking about, he's actually in college also, he's 21, and we were talking about how, like, our friends in college and other people, they don't realize that entrepreneurship lifestyle that we have about staying consistent and doing work all the time. But it's like, to us, it's not really work because we love what we do, you know? So, I mean, that why factor, it's because the passion that we have for what we're doing. Like, for me, it's Sunday. Like, today's the Super Bowl, but, like, I love that we're doing podcasting also. Like, I'm writing my blog today. I'm probably going to be doing a couple of Snapchats and stuff like that. But to me, it's not really work. I mean, I love doing that. I love to travel. So going down to Orlando, that was a lot of fun for me. And people saw me there. They're like, oh, like, how did you get there? Like, what did you do to get that opportunity to be there? And it was because I stayed consistent for an entire year working with Brandon and adding value to him. So that's, like, one main thing that I really learned from going down to Orlando. And what I see in people that are successful entrepreneurs is that big passion that they have to stay or to keep doing what they do and being consistent on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I understand that 100%. Like, we always, we're working right now, obviously, at the day of the Super Bowl. We're going to be doing different things throughout the day just because, like you said, we love what we do. This is fun to me. And we know that this isn't going to make us, millions and millions of dollars or billions of dollars by any means. But this is just something that if we stick with over a long period of time, the opportunities will be there for us because people eventually will start listening to us more and more and more, and we'll build a bigger fan base. We'll build a bigger download, like, listeners. There'll be just a lot more listeners. And with this, that we're plugged right into their headphones. They're listening to us when they're running. They're listening to us when they work out or on different drives. So this is another way that this is something we love to do, and we're going to be doing it for a long period of time, over and over again, and it's going to lead us to better and bigger opportunities because we're going to keep producing content over and over and over again, and people are going to recognize it, and they're going to love it.
Yeah, definitely. But, like, because we're staying consistent on everything we're doing, we're getting known more. A lot of people, they're starting to realize that we're podcasters in college students who created this podcast for other college students, for millennials. And a lot of people, like, a year ago, they didn't really know who I was at my university, at my campus, because I wasn't putting out that content. And a lot of people, they're so great at the things they do, but nobody will know what you're doing unless you put it out there. So, I mean, we've done so much. We're doing this podcast then as well as our accelerator, which is going great, and putting out that content, people see that and they want to join our team, and we want to add value to them.
Yeah, and thanks to us really keeping out this content and doing what we're doing, we're able to bring all you college students a great accelerator program. And that's within a Facebook community that we're doing. And with that, we're putting in different content that isn't on our podcast or our Facebook post. We're adding really great value through smile time interviews with different celebrities in different fields. So you guys should find that at livetogrind.com/college. You can find Sabah at sabahali.com. You can find myself at danieltieman.com. Sabah, any last words?
Yeah, so guys, just stay consistent. Press play on that Facebook Live. Just write down a couple of thoughts, create that blog, or even start a podcast show. It's really not that hard. Just do something, create some content, and just put it out there. Just put it on your Facebook, your Snapchat, Instagram, whatever it is. Just put something out there and then stay consistent on it. Just do it every day. Set a time aside, whether it is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Just a little bit of time to do that one thing that you want to do, which will help you in the future. But that's all we have today. Join us next time on Dorm Rooms to Conference Rooms.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Dorm Rooms and Conference Rooms. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you haven't joined our Accelerator program yet, you can find that at livetogrind.com/college, where we connect you with today's latest influencers and experts in their fields.